Okay. All right, well, we're going to roll right into it. Out of respect for your time, Haiden, this is where I know you expect to be. Does today feel at all like redemption, or does it just feel like another win in the long win column?
No, I'm just grateful. Man, after last weekend, that was this week was, kind of just rough, right? I worked so hard this offseason, and I feel like this offseason, just, from everything that's going on, everyone, doubting what I can do in the future, and now it's like I really locked into this offseason. I'm going to work my butt off harder than I ever have, and I did. And to not be able to show it at the first round, that hurts. So, came out swinging this weekend, and it was well.
Nicely done. We'll open it up to questions from the media.
Andrea, Moto Now. Fans were booing you after the race. Does that change your opinion on how you would approach passing Anstie, and how does it make you feel in general, I guess?
I've seen videos of Kobe Bryant getting booed. So it's like they booing the guy that's winning. That's, how it goes sometimes. And I don't know, this world may have gone a little soft, but it was really not intentional to take Max out. When you race Supercross, you go up the inside like that, a guy will go to cut down, and all I did was try and cut down with him and ended up getting his front wheel, and I'll go tell him sorry, whether he takes it or not, but it wasn't on purpose. So it was a good night, though, and that's all that matters.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports. Overcoming what for you was a disappointing finish last week. How important was it to establish yourself with the heat win and the race win this week?
Yeah, I needed that. I needed to get some momentum underneath me. I'm glad I could do it quicker than last year. And, just keep working hard and keep grinding every week.
Hi, Brian with Swing Arm Media. You made a number of passes in the short rhythm section at the end of the start straight. Anything special about that, or just opportunity?
No, today I just feel like I was in a mode where I was like, I'm going to sprint these races, and I feel like I'm in a position where if I ride to a 90% pace and smooth and smart, I should be winning these things. So no, just sprinting pretty hard through these races.
Hey, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. How important is it to you to get this early win in the season, and how much do you think it can, give you this momentum to get that on your side?
Yeah, this is what I was looking for last week, so thank God I could get some momentum under my belt, and I've freaking been working hard, so it's nice for it to pay off, and it's good.
So question for you about your teammate, Max Anstie. So I know, of course, you guys are teammates. I don't know how much time you're spending riding together during the week, but before you made that pass, how good of a sense of anticipation did you have of what his strengths or weaknesses might be out there?
Yeah, I ride with him every week, so I know exactly how he rides, and the goal was, I just wanted to get around him and take off and try and get a lead and not focus on anything around me and just focus on myself. So unfortunately that incident happened, which, I wasn't intended to take him out. So I was just glad I could get by him and take off.
Andrew from Moto Now, you have a replica of this track at your home facility. How similar did it end up being tonight? Yeah,
it was super close. I came in the whoops and wheel tapped the first lap of qualifying free practice laps. So it was quite close. Some of the rhythms obviously a little different because they got to build it in a stadium, but it was good.
Are you expecting any form of retaliation from Max, or how does that kind of relationship unfold from this point?
Yeah, it wasn't really a dirty move. It wasn't intentional that way, which, retaliation, this, that, or whatever, I'm always ready for anything, and we're racing dirt bikes, so if that's what comes down to, it comes down to that, and hopefully it doesn't need to. I'm going to go talk to him and try and clear the air because it truly wasn't intentional, but it's racing dirt bikes, right? So if that happens, it happens, and I'm ready for it.
Going into next weekend, we're going back to Angel Stadium. So how are you approaching it now? Of course, the Anaheim one, it's just a whole different beast, right? But any sort of different approach now, of course, points leader going into A2.
Same approach I've had, just, be smart at these races and nail my laps, nail a, top 5 start, and ride my race.
Any other remaining questions? That'll be it. Thank you for your time. Haiden Deegan. Michael Mosiman, Anaheim won. It was a great effort, but this one even better. What would you say was your key strength tonight?
I'm sorry.
It's all good. Anaheim won. That was a great effort, but this one even better. What would you say was your key strength in tonight's race?
Oh, just keep my head head on, I'd say, for the whole race. Just try to be there and not push too hard. It was a tricky track. The whoops were really edgy. There's a lot of little things that could catch you out. And so, yeah, it was a matter of just staying in it lap after lap and, try to be there in the end.
It seemed like the Monster Energy Yamaha Star bikes, it seemed like they couldn't get away from each other all night there. I know you were part of some great battles. What's it like when you go back to the pit area, let's say tonight? Are you conversing with your teammates and competitors, or do you kind of keep to yourself with your mechanic?
No, we all talk, and I don't know, we each have our different relationships, but I say Max and I are probably a little bit closer than Haiden and I. I think there's a little bit of a just age gap, and he's a kid. He's into all sorts of different things that Max and I, we're both married and in different seasons of life, so I think we were able to relate to each other a little bit better. But overall, we're all cordial. It was super. Haiden let us ride at his track, so that was super nice this week, and so I think it's a good atmosphere.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports, back-to-back podiums. First of all, congratulations.
Not back-to-back podiums, back-to-back top fives.
Back-to-back top fives. Thank you. How important is that, or how does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. I think last year I started out the season 15-9, and I remember looking over the points at the end of the year, and it's like, wow, if I could have had those two races back, that would have been huge. And so to start out having good results is awesome. It's great. It's a blessing, and it just gives you something to build off of, and you're able to stay in the fight. So, I think I tend to get better as the season goes on. This is the best I've probably started out any season ever, and so that's just super awesome. Testament to the work we put in to be more mentally strong, to be able to show up when right away.
Andrea from Moto Now. You mentioned on the podium that you're more level-headed during the main events. Does that come naturally to you?
No.
Or do you have to actively tell yourself to be calm?
It has not historically come naturally to me. I work with a neuroscientist full-time. He's my performance coach. And so we've literally done a lot of work to try and rewire my brain from the inside out, to be able to handle situations like that better. I don't crash nearly as much. Like last week, I had, a couple occasions, but that was some weren't my fault and some were, and so I think that the proof's in the pudding. We've been putting a lot of work in. I mean, countless hours of therapy and talking through things and clearing out historical issues so that I can move on from the past. I'm not the same rider I was.
Hi, Brian with Swing Arm Media. Michael, it's similar to what Haley mentioned earlier in the heat race. It was 1, 2, 3 with your teammates, and both of you on the podium here. Does that give you any comfort when you see those bikes because you're used to seeing them during the weeks?
I would say I trust those guys not to do anything crazy with me. I think we all protect each other a little bit. Those guys are right now heavily in the title fight and have their own little beef brewing, so maybe not them individually, but I think that I don't think Hayden's gonna clean me out, and he's gonna leave me room, and I think that Max is the same way, and so that's just huge. Having a couple guys you trust that they're not gonna do anything crazy, they're not gonna come up cut over on you, and when we're all at the front, that's that's nice.
Hey, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. When you think back to the main event, congratulations, by the way, on the podium. But when you think back, what was the decisive point, the moment for you that really counted in the main event?
That's a good question. I would say there's probably two moments. There's the first lap. I did not get a great start, and there was chaos breaking loose. I think someone went down the first turn, and I made some really good decisive moves first lap. I have a technique, I call it the pick and roll, but essentially the second turn, everyone's going up in the berm, and if you have somebody that's already mid-turn that you can stick your front wheel behind, it's almost like cover, right? Because then the person underneath can't come and get you. So you know, it's kind of like they're protecting you. So I was able to use that second turn, and then I got really close to the tough blocks, but lucky for the edge, I was able to go on off in the second rhythm, and that was huge. Put me right in the mix of things, and yeah, I would say that was huge to put myself in a decent position out the gate. And then I would say like probably 10 minutes in, just like my internal self-talk, I remember coming up before passing the mechanics area, like, all right, like I can do this, you can do this, like stay in it. And, you know, a couple laps later, I'm in third and, you know, battling right on second. So I think just giving myself that shot, you know, as everyone's getting tired, to stay in it was another, you know, huge moment of the race for me.
Great. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Cameron McAdoo, it feels like back where you belong here in podium contention. What are the emotions following that one? I know we heard a little bit of that from you on the podium, but what's coming from the heart?
I mean, yeah, like, to be honest, this is what I expect. Like, so when I have a lot of emotion when it comes to this, it's not because I'm surprised. It's not because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm so stoked to get second. Like, I want to win. I expect myself to win. But what it took and what it takes for me to come back to here, especially this last, 10 months, like, it's pretty special. So, and then obviously my round one didn't go the way I planned it, and so this was just exactly what I wanted to do tonight. One position behind what I wanted to do tonight, but it takes a lot, and I've done it for a lot of years, and I've had multiple years in a row where I've had a long time off and not done a single gate drop. And I said it on the podium tonight, I really pride myself on putting my best foot forward every single day, whether that be getting on my bicycle in the middle of the summer when it's going to be 8 months till I race again. And some people might think, what's the point, right? Like, I just put my best foot forward in every aspect of my life, and I'm proud of that. So that's where some of that comes from.
Well, it is really great to have you back to Supercross. We'll turn over to questions from the media.
Thank you.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports. Did you feel like there were any open questions? And if so, did this week answer it after struggles last week and riding so well this week?
I'm sure there's a ton of questions from, like I started with, I believe in myself. I really think that it's every year that, the media can maybe create some rivalries that maybe I don't feel like should exist, and I'm definitely not part of them, which rightfully so, right? They haven't seen me race, and I haven't battled guys for 9 months. Why would they talk about me battling these guys? So it's on me to come back and be like, I'm here still. So yeah, that's what I'm going to continue doing, and I plan to do a lot of racing these next few months.
Andrea with Moto Now. This might be kind of in a similar vein, but what are your thoughts on the Deegan incident last week, and are you totally okay after a crash?
I'm glad that I ended up totally okay after last weekend and what happened to me. That's really all I have to say about it. I'm really grateful that I got to come line up tonight and do my job again. That's all I have to say about it.
Alex Gobert, motoronline.com. When you do come back to racing each time, and particularly this time, do you notice much different in the sport's progression, the category, the 250SX class?
It does, yeah. Like, I watch closely when I'm not racing, and I study what my competitors are doing, what they're doing better, what they're doing to get better while I'm not racing, and that's kind of what I mean by putting my best foot forward at all times. Last year, like I said, I spent a lot of time away from the sport, but I was still there. I was still watching, and yeah, I mean, the sport is progressing. I mean, I'm watching the 450 main event on the screen right now, and I promise you that Tomac right now is not the same Tomac that he was 7 years ago when everyone thought he was his prime. So to answer your question, yeah, our sport is progressing. The lights class is no longer a feeder class. You see us, like I'm in my later 20s. Max is in his early to mid 30s, and yeah, it's pretty cool to be out here and to be at the top of our sport.
I believe it was Chance Hymas who you were battling with for a while there. In what way specifically do you feel like he was really pushing you during that battle?
I really felt like I was racing the leaders. I was doing my best to race the leaders. I got caught out a bit in the heat race, not doing that. I had no clue Rider D was behind me, and I came out of a turn, and it was a very much so a racing incident, non-intentional at all on his end, but I got absolutely smashed, and I had no clue he was there. So that was maybe me just letting my guard down a little bit, and I was like, man, I'm just going to race to the front. So to be honest, I have no clue when what happened between whether it was chance or I believe, Michael ended up third behind me. I really was just trying to race forward. There was a couple lines, like after the mechanics area and stuff, that I wasn't very happy with how I was able to execute, and we're going to work on a few things this week because of that specific lane, and try to just be better for next weekend.
Great. Thank you, Cameron McAdoo.
Thank you.
Number 5 instead. P5 there. Was there something exciting going on I missed? Or?
Well, Max, you gave us a great reaction and your honest thoughts at the podium there. So unless you've had more time to collect your thoughts and your feelings have developed on that situation, I'd just like to know, how do you move forward from this?
I've got to work on it. That's so. Couple years ago, I actually trained a bit with Justin Barsha at MTF, and for the reason of I want to get better at that kind of race. I'm not saying Barsha's, I'm just saying like Barsha's an aggressive rider. So I was like, right, and he's a scary rider to be around. So I was like, right, okay, I want to work on that, and I got on well with Justin. Like call him this week, do some more practice when he's feeling better. But no, that was impressive. Obviously, I know who I'm racing. I know. I've watched, the stuff with Joe Shimoda. I've watched, obviously Hayden's career, and fair play. He's good at it, at those type of moves, and putting himself in positions that are very, I guess, like blocking, but obviously not allowing me to come back with it. I wasn't planning on putting up much of a fight there. It was like, okay, look, he's fast, he's ripping, I was just kind of like, okay, the job's done, he's made the pass, but I wasn't expecting a little brake slide into it. So, all right, fair enough. I can go back, work on it. It's I can take it on the chin. I'm a big boy. It's obviously not ideal, but hey, it happens. It's racing. So I'll go back and see what I can do with it. Obviously, like can't really practice that too much. It's kind of hard, but my starts are great. I'm feeling good on the bike. Bike's working well. So it's a long season. We'll be all right. I'll put it back in the right position next week.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports. Is this a case of you have to learn to race people the way they race you? And are you willing to race Deegan that aggressively going forward?
I think I'm going to have to be, of course. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because he feeds off of that, the beef or the UFC like kind of style, and to me, I mean, dude, I'm quite a bit older. I'm just focused on myself. I got a lot of racing to do, but of course, you know who you're racing with. So yeah, for me, I'm going to have to be sharper. I thought I was aware, but I overlooked it. I didn't respect the Haiden Deegan. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I didn't respect that on the track, and I was like, okay, that's I'm aware it won't happen again. That was one mistake on my part. Okay, I'm sure we're going to be in this situation again. I pretty much whole shot every race that I do. My starts are unreal. He's not as good on the starts as me, it doesn't seem. So he's going to be coming, and he's obviously really fast. So hey, I'm sure we'll be in this position again. I'll work on it and be sharper next time.
Alex Gober, motoronline.com. Outside of the incident, what's it going to take to beat Haiden Deegan for this championship? What do you think?
Starts.
Yeah, how do you do that?
just getting out the gate, getting in, doing what I was doing. I don't have to beat him would have been happy with a second tonight, obviously. But he made sure that didn't happen. He was faster than me tonight on this style track. He was riding really well. I couldn't really use the whoops to my advantage. They were with that tabletop kind of thing. Like I couldn't go too fast because then I would end up smashing into it. Just about executing as well as I can, and when the track suits, I'll be there like last week, and hopefully A2 will be similar to that. When it's like this, just put myself in a position, and I was riding great. I felt like I was riding really well. He's also, there's a reason why he's got the number 1 plate. He's really good at when there's traction and these things. Like he said, I train with him all the time. I know how he works. When there's traction, he's one of the best guys at sending it. For me, I was close. I was happy with where I was at with my speed. I can always be better, so I'll keep pushing with that. And yeah, what I've got to do is focus on myself, get my starts, and not let those things happen again. I mean, if he beats me straight up, no problem. Like, dude, the kid's fast. He's incredible. But yeah, just got to put myself in. I was in a good position, but I've got to be smarter in that situation when I'm under attack there with him. But hey, I'm learning. That's first one for me, so I'll be all right.
Last question.
Oh yeah, Brian with Swing Arm Media. At the end of the whoop section after the table, whatever that mini dragon, whatever it is, at times you would do the same thing as Haiden and a few other riders. You're like wheel tap and kind of quad into the corner. Were you just reserving that when you needed it, like if you were trying to catch or defend?
Yeah, it was mainly so after I crashed, my clutch lever was really far down, so I couldn't really use it, and I needed the pop to kind of get that. Otherwise, I was scared of braking and not having the clutch and stalling it or running on. So I had it in the bag. It just depended on how I landed the table single. If I landed it clean, I could get that. If I cased it a little, then I would just skim. I'm good at skimming, so I wasn't worried about like if I had to skim or not. So yeah.
Great. Thank you, Max.
All right, cheers.
Chase Sexton, the story being just how quickly you were able to work your way back forward and bounce back from the start of that race. So I know there were a lot of changes made to the bike, it sounds like, coming into today. Are things trending in the right direction with it?
Sync them off or just leave it there? Yeah, it was a good moto for me. I think I had good speed for about 15 minutes of it, and then I kind of fell off a little bit, but I had to put a big effort coming from last to fourth. So frustrated and putting myself in that hole off the rip because that was pretty dumb. But we fought back, and that's the name of the game. We saved a lot of points. I know I'm in a bit of a hole at this point, but we're pretty close to being in a good spot to click off some wins. So I think tonight, obviously, I had the bike to do it. Just made a dumb mistake on my part. So clean that stuff up, and just feels like I haven't raced in a long time. Coming back from last weekend, didn't really get to be up in the front, and then today it was still starting in the back. So I'd like to make it easier on myself for next weekend.
Jonathan McCready, Gate Drop. Chase, you were fast last week in terms of speed, but you made a lot of bike changes. Did you feel a big improvement this weekend? Because again, you were fast, but obviously the gate didn't help you.
Yeah, I felt a lot better this weekend. I think if you looked at my main event from this weekend to last weekend, it was a big difference. So I felt good all day in practice. Didn't get a good lap in practice, but felt good in the heat race. Got the win in that, and then again, I felt good for most of that main event. Just when you start last, it's a bit tough coming through a lot of good guys, and fourth was about as good as I could do. I feel like if I could have pushed a little longer, I could have gotten to the top three. They were right in front of me, just lost the pace a little bit at the end.
Hey, Alex Gober, MotoOnline.com. What was the probably the number one thing you were kind of looking for out of the bike this weekend from A1?
Just wanted to get it more comfortable for me. I think in the off season I kind of went the wrong way, and it was on me. I with suspension, we made a lot of progress with the chassis and stuff, but suspension wise I was really soft last weekend, and the bike wasn't going to be good for 20 minutes, but that was because of the way I pushed it. And I think this week just honestly, the whole team, even Pro Circuit, helped a lot, and we came together as a family, and it's pretty cool. I'm really having fun being a part of Kawasaki, and I think, yeah, we're going to see good things here coming pretty soon. They are a great team, and they deserve to win, so my job is to put them there.
Josh Mosiman, Motocross Action. Chase, you kind of started to answer my question as I was getting ready to ask you, but pretty cool to see Kawasaki, and you guys, I heard you rode Levi Kitchen's bike this week, jumped on a 250. Kawasaki has a stigma of being a more rigid team, but they let you throw Pro Circuit triple clamps on their linkage, forks, and switch everything up after round 2. So 2 weeks in, you looked a lot better today, and just tell us about, I guess, working together with the team, working together with Pro Circuit, riding a 250, you know, how is it working with the team now?
It's been really fun. Yeah, I mean, you hear the stuff out on there really rigid and strict, but they've been nothing but open arms to me. And yeah, I rode Levi's bike this week, and I haven't ridden a 250 in a long time, and he rode my bike, so it was cool to kind of go back and forth and learn some stuff that they do a lot of R&D themselves, and my bike was a lot better today. Obviously, we still have a little work to do, but the team's been really, really awesome. I can't say anything but good things about them. It was, actually. I got the rhythms and stuff down, and I felt like I was going decently fast on it. So, yeah, I was like, man, after last weekend, they're going to have to put me on a 250 back in the lights class. That was not very good. But, no, it was really fun, and it's fun riding with Levi because him and I do the same training program, so we're pretty familiar, and it's been good.
Last question. Scott Yarja, Moto Now. You were averaging like almost a second faster for a while, really catching the lead group, and then it seemed like your pace dropped back in the last like 5 minutes or so. What happened there?
Yeah, when you start in last, it's a bit difficult to get to, especially how the class is. It's hard to get to the top 5. And once I got there, I wasn't at my limit, but I was pushing pretty hard, and I felt like I was catching them, and they were right there, and it was just a little bit too far for me to get to the back, and I had already put myself in a lot of hard riding up until that point. I was wide open for 15 minutes that race, so it would have been a lot easier starting in the front. Thanks, guys.
Starting out, Ken Roxon, you led the most laps of valuable points round. How are you processing this podium finish?
Let the most laps, but got last spot on the podium. But no, it was an amazing race. Honestly, I had a lot of fun. We were going back and forth, and ultimately, after I got passed by Eli, I just had like a lap and a half of falling in a terrible rhythm, and got passed by Hunter too. And then I didn't want to just back off and get dropped off. So we ended up, still being really close to the very front, and ultimately had a lot of fun, and I'm taking the podium. So I'm really happy with my riding again, but I just lacked in that like 2-3%, but enough for the podium, so I'll take it.
Adam from Track Talkers for Ken. I seen that you had a pretty big spin out in the whoops in the first opening laps, and then you also kind of went off the track in the whoop section. Was there something that you were trying to overcome with the bike to be able to finish that main event on the podium, and how were you able to finish like that?
They didn't look as bad, but they were really grippy. And sometimes, when they're more hard pack and it steps out a little bit, it just has that little bit of give, But right now, as soon as it steps out, it just wants to go right back the other way. So I just kind of got caught off guard a couple of times. They were super square edgy, and like I said, it just was ultimately not enough to just hang on to the front or second. And one thing I did focus on, that even when I dropped off ever so slightly, that I put in a late push again, and just, you never know with these guys battling, and things can happen. I want to be within reach to make a pass. So again, I wasn't the best tonight by any means, and is what it is. So.
Jonathan McCready, get drop. Ken, last year you started out really strong. Did that give you belief that this year you can be a title contender with these 2 podiums?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, last year was good until I got injured, and I'm on my way again. So I'm just going to take it race by race, day by day, and see where I'm at. Things can happen real quick, but I'm in a good spot right now. And it is nice to be considered a title contender again, I guess, but try not to really listen to it and stay away from everything, from all the drama, and enjoy myself.
Ken, Josh Mosiman, Motocross Action. Once again, awesome to watch you out there. You look amazing. But you said that you weren't the best guy. You didn't feel your best tonight. So how good does it feel that you're not your best, is still a podium, and it's still with the leaders right in front of you across the finish line? And then second part of the question, scrubbing the tabletop onto the start straight, that over-under. You got it close a couple times with both Hunter and Eli. So take us through that, and then even almost getting into Eli going back and forth off the finish line as well. So scrubbing and getting close.
Yeah, there was so much going on. I don't remember all the scenarios as of right now, but yeah, I just, the tunnel jump, they're so fun. And you can actually, even though they're, 3 feet long or something like that, you can actually make up quite a bit of time by staying low and getting on the throttle early, time that matters. So yeah, I'm just trying to, even on the days where it might not be there, but you still gotta have at it and try your best. And that's exactly what I've done. So even in the past few years, I've tried to just overcome whatever feelings I have. And, again, it was enough for the podium, and I'm just going to keep trying to improve that. And maybe one of these races, it'll be swapped around and I'll be on the very top.
Michael Lindsay, Vital MX. Ken, one of your biggest attributes is your opening laps, your fast twitch, your response, how quick you make decisions. It ultimately wasn't successful on Hunter initially, but you gave it everything. And I'm curious, insight, how much of that naturally comes to you versus, I guess to put it bluntly, how much are you thinking every little decision? Give the viewers an insight into your opening laps and how you think it through.
I was trying to be methodical about it. I have to be right on his rear wheel to try and dive in somewhere, because if you have that tiny bit of gap, you can never make it happen. But I didn't want to override and blow myself up early in the race. So I tried a couple of times and then just settled in a little bit and then tried again. So I was kind of going back and forth because I didn't want to waste energy trying to really pass him all the time and then just, ultimately not making it happen and then dropping off. So like I said, I was trying to be methodical about it as much as I possibly could, and that's what I did. Then Eli came and we swapped back and forth, and yeah, it was a tricky track. It was just very tacky. You had some slick spots, but overall it was extremely tacky. So the amount that you can push, that's what makes it hard. It did get pretty ruddy, but I overall really enjoyed the track. It wasn't a sketchy ruddy, but you still had to, in the rhythm lanes, just because it is so grabby, you tend to kind of drift a little bit and land in between the ruts. So it made it technical, and but I really enjoyed it.
Last question.
Edward Heather, Colts Moto. Kenny, there was a free-rider battle from lap 1 to the final lap, and is there a different approach that you've got to have when if you're pushing on Eli or maybe trying to keep Eli off you, you also know Hunter's just there. So if you make a little mistake, and like you say, you had a lap and a half of a couple of errors, it can kind of go wrong. So yeah, is there a different mentality to when you're battling 2 people opposed to 1 for first, third and second?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if you're in the very front, you're at that very second just battling the guy behind you for the most part. And I think it just makes it overall more fun, swapping back and forth, But it was tough. Hunter actually, from last weekend to now, he made a massive step forward, and it was awesome to see that all 3 of us were kind of gapping the field again. I hope that the crowd loved it. Certainly I did. And, we've done a lot of 20+1s, and it's really about kind of managing your race at certain times. And, that's what I did tonight, and it just wasn't enough.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks.
Okay, Eli, congratulations running it back, not just back-to-back wins, but San Diego last year to this year. We'll just talk about that move that you had to make, the moves you had to make to find the front.
Yeah, it was quite a back and forth there, and in the beginning of the race, I tried to play the patience game. Hunter and Ken were really dicing it out, so I kind of just tried to warm up into the race there and stay on them, but also try not to do anything too wild there. And then of course, made my way forward past Hunter, and then started dicing it with Ken, and, back and forth. And the first pass, I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna make the stick and I can get away. And sure enough, that didn't happen, and Ken came back, and then it was tough. And once I got in front of him the second time, got back into a good groove again and thought I was all good, just watching Ken and kind of marking him around the track. And then the last lap I go over the tunnel and I hear this rev, and I look over and I see a red fender, and I'm just like, what in the world is that? And it was Hunter. So I'm kind of bummed at myself. I just wasn't paying attention. So, and then plus the Lawrence's ride so quiet on the track, you just don't know they're there. So bad on me for not watching pit board, the tower, and being aware, and just honestly just watching Ken too much. So I felt like when I saw him over the tunnel, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do in this next corner. Did I just pin it into that berm and hope for the best? So, of course, great night of, another win, 2 weekends in a row with this team. So, but it was close.
Mike Lindsay, Vital MX. Eli, post right after you came out to finish, you're talking to Jade, your mechanic. It's one of the happiest I've seen you in recent races. But some of your reactions to him, I heard you joking with him about a lap time on the board that shocked you and just a few other things like you mentioned there with the Hunter thing. Can you give us some of those post-race reflections why, you enjoyed this battle and this night so much?
Well, there was just the back and forth with Ken there, and then thinking I was in control, but little did I know I wasn't, and I was maybe a little lazy through the whoops, lazy into that bold turn before the tunnel jump there, and of course Hunter was right there. So, I feel like I was somewhat lucky to hold on to that one.
Eli, Adam from Track Talkers. You talked about in your opening statement about how you tried to make that pass on Ken Roxon, and it just didn't stick. And it definitely looked like what you said, you lost your rhythm a bit. One of the hardest things in racing is to find that reset, find yourself again. Tell everybody just what it takes to be able to reset and actually make a push to then make another pass.
For one, you just have to be comfortable with what you're working with, and I was able to do that. I was able to basically get my heart rate back under control because I made a couple of good pushes up to him, but then didn't really make anything happen, and then kind of had to reset and think about where I was going to try to make the move on him. So thankfully, I was able to do that and kind of control that area of the race for myself.
John McCready, GetDrop.com. Eli, can you talk about your corner speed a wee bit? You look so comfortable in pretty much every turn, like you've complete confidence in the bike. Mm-hmm. And secondly, is a 1-1 the first 2 rounds of the season exceeding your expectations?
The turns were awesome. I was able to move around, and I'm really, really happy with what I'm working with right now in this motorcycle. Like I can do my feet up on the pegs if I want to. I can kind of move around, and I can just lay the bike over into the ruts right now. So, and as far as winning 2 in a row, of course you dream of it, but making it happen is a whole different deal. So, it's a great start for us.
Josh Mosiman from Motocross Action. Eli, congrats, 2 wins, pretty awesome. 2-part question: your bike, you look super comfortable on it, and you actually make it look really light. Do you feel like it's any lighter than bikes you've ridden in the past? And then the second part of the question is technique. You're just so solid, so strong. It never looks like you get tired. Mobility. How much do you work on stretching and flexing, and how easy is it for you to touch your toes? Like, how important is that when it comes to being solid on the bike technique-wise?
I'll say the left to right on this bike, right to left is really nice. Like I can throw this thing around right now, and then I'm very efficient on the bike too. So it's a good motorcycle for me right now. And I'm not sure if you want to talk to me about stretching, but hey, I feel really at one with this motorcycle, and it's showing.
Eli, Edward Heather, Colt Moto. Eli, win number 55, I believe, in the 450 class. Over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of rumours regarding final year, if he's going to race. But if anything, you're looking, let's say, prime, 2 for 2 at the start of this year. So, yeah, how do these wins feel? And, yeah, it must be nice to know as each year goes past, you're almost getting a little bit better.
Yeah, of course, the clock's ticking, but I've improved myself. So it's a great spot to be in, and of course I'm enjoying it. I keep saying it, but man, it's pretty wild to think this is the double nickel win, number 55. Pretty cool.
Last question.
Yeah, Jason from Racer X. I think there was a little more traction tonight than last week. So does it help a little bit on the new motorcycle to know if the conditions are a little bit different, the result ends up being the same? Do you learn a little bit by winning on 2 different types of soils?
Yeah, it was different. It was a way different surface. It felt like an East Coast track, to be straight up. Like the dirt was pulling way more on the bike, like under braking and acceleration. We had ruts, so it was good to put it in that situation, right? But it was much different surface than last week at Anaheim.
Thank you, Eli.
Thanks.
All right. Hunter, it's easy to rewatch a race and for us to point to, this happened or this didn't happen, but beyond race situations, is there anything you can point to between Anaheim 1 and now that maybe lent itself to this step forward?
I definitely think feeling more comfortable on the bike. We did a lot of stuff during the week to try and help that out where I felt like we struggled In Anaheim, all of the things I could have done better at Anaheim, Jet fastly reminded me in the truck after. So we'll go back and wait and hear what he has to say about this one. So, yeah, I think we had a lot better. Kind of a average like day program, I think, for me. Just kind of, we're still trying things, but that's one thing I pride myself on, is being able to show up in the main event when it counts. So we were close. It was a good race.
Adam from Track Talkers for Hunter. I watched you the entire main event. I just kept like a little eye on you, and you were just sitting there kind of stalking. We know you to kind of be a little bit of a slow starter and then pick it up. Was this a strategy of like, hey, I want to watch Ken, I want to watch Eli, or was this, okay, I got to find my lines, I got to find my rhythm, let the race come to me? And then, you know, part two of this question is, do you wish you could have tried to pass him somewhere else on that last lap?
Yeah, I'll answer the first one. Yeah, the first time I went far left in the whoops was where Kenny ended up getting me, and the previous runs before weren't terrible, and he wasn't really gaining on me there, I don't think. And I was like, just, you know, being greedy, trying to find something else a little better, and that cost me. And then that same lap coming out of that corner where I dove in on Eli, the last lap, just didn't quite get that triple, and that was enough. Eli was close enough. But yeah, the last lap, I thought I was really close, and then as I was coming in and, you know, the corner's getting closer and you're getting closer and closer, I'm like, oh, this is going to be pretty damn dirty if I see this through. It would have been like what happened with Chase and Harrison in the qualifying. So, yeah, in hindsight, yeah, absolutely. I would have maybe just sat there and then tried the next corner, or the like Chase and Prado in the heat race on after the big rhythm lane, those last two turns. But you tend to try not to leave it that late if you can. But, yeah, I just feel like the first 15 minutes was just trying to get the first 15 minutes under my belt and stay there, as I feel like the last 5 is really where I kind of can put someone away, or just, you know, little by little, half a bike here and there, and make that gap or whatever it is. Congrats. Thanks.
Scott Yarjamoto now. Heat race like today wasn't maybe your best. Chase like passed you and gapped you quite a bit. What was the difference like between that and the main event?
Honestly, the heat race for me is the hardest race of the night, because it's just like, the track's easier. You just sprint. There's not much endurance needed for it and stuff. So that for me is the hardest race of the night, I feel like. And yeah, it was just a crappy heat race, and I was like pretty frustrated. The start, I had wheel spin once I hit the dirt, which was super random. We haven't had that in a very long time. So yeah, it was just a frustrating one, and kind of shake that off and then just put, you know, all the chips in on the main.
Hunter, Josh, Mosiman, MXA. Yesterday we talked about it. You were believing in a win. You wanted to win. And through that main event, you ended up at the finish line looking at the winner just right in front of you, where last week it was a little bit different. But you believed in yourself all week. We know how mentally tough you are. Throughout that main event, it looked like Adam said, you started consistent, and then you picked up the pace halfway, and you looked like a new rider halfway through. So at what was the mental game like leading right away? And then mentally, when did you know that you could win, or think that you could win, and what was that mental battle? Because 20 minutes is a long time when you're giving it your hardest. Yeah,
I really love what I can do in 20 minutes, honestly. I really feel confident in what I'm able to do in 20 minutes and just hit my marks and, you know, death by 1,000 cuts kind of mentality, honestly. So I really, honestly, all day I just look forward to the main. Like, I don't like the qualifying. I don't like the heat race. Like, I just want that 20-minute main. Let's see who's put the work in and really get out there. And honestly, last weekend I felt somewhat restricted, and we were able to progress a bit with the bike, which helped. And I think that shown tonight. So hopefully we can keep trending in that fashion. Yeah, the win's there soon. It's coming.
Hey, Alex Gober, MotoOnline.com. How much did your experience of running up front in SMX, in pro motocross, and, you know, during your career previously, how much did that experience count tonight in 450 SX?
Oh, it's yeah, for sure there's experience there, but it's just so different. You know, like, you miss a rhythm or something, or you just get clipped the top of one of the jumps, like a 5-footer, and then you can't get the next one. Like, that's little mistakes or little things you got to grease that are not as, you know, focused on in motocross, obviously. But I love it. I love battling up front. Like, it's sick. You know, the adrenaline, just the racecraft and being up there. You know, like I said, on the podium, I had FOMO last weekend watching Kenny and Eli out the front, and I was just like, I know I can be there. We just had to make some steps, and I think we did. And it's just fun. It's just fun. Like I said, I look forward to the main all day long.
Joey, I think everyone here in the stands would agree that this is fantastic. So just what are the emotions and your thought process post-race here after a great one?
Yeah, I mean, it was good, right? I did everything that I've been talking about all week. I wanted to give myself an opportunity to be at the front. I've always believed in my ability. Results always haven't shown, but nonetheless, I still believe that I'm good on a motorcycle, and I can be near the front. So it wasn't pretty, if I'm being honest. Wasn't the cleanest race by any means, but that's the luxury of starting up front. You don't have to be perfect to have a decent race. So yeah, I'm happy, and just gotta keep the ball rolling.
Joey Savatgy, Adam from Track Talkers. We talked in press day, and I feel like you way undersold yourself. You said, I want to be somewhere between 5th to 8th place. Well, we got a 5th, so what's the new goal?
No, I mean, obviously we always want to improve, but I was being genuine. I don't want to set the bar too high. I've learned that when I do that, it's very easy to spin out. I need to focus on myself and one race at a time. So, yeah, I mean, the goal is 5 to 8. I think if I can do that week in and week out, I think that says a lot about my ability. Obviously, we're not a factory team, so there are some things that maybe we don't have that could help, or maybe not. But I think that is a very realistic, achievable goal. Obviously, I'd love to squeak a little bit higher than that here and there, but again, there's a lot of very, very good guys in this class, and a lot of guys with titles. So goal doesn't change, 5 to 8. I think if I can do that week in and week out, I'll be happy with that. Thank you.
Michael Lindsay from Vital MX. Joey, for the past couple of years, you've been a little bit of a weird spot of your career where you were trying to figure out how to make a 250 position work. Clearly, you were a title contender on that bike. Clearly, that did not go your way with the rules and everything. Since then, you've made a great home with Yuriv and the Quad Lock Honda team. Can you tell me a little bit about that transition to committing to the 450 class full-time, to doing the off-season series, to figuring out what this step of your career looks like after, pushing so long to take a title in the 250s?
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, I never wanted to go back down. It was a little bit of a gamble. It was a situation with a new team or a new manufacturer, and the upside was there. I believed, and I still do, that I could win, or I could have won the outdoor series. Like, I went in thinking that. But, things didn't go like we wanted it to. So I never had the idea. I never wanted to move back down. I felt like once I moved up, well, because the point reason, but I didn't want to move back down. So the move down was simply because of the opportunity that was there to help a manufacturer potentially grow with them and have a long-term home there. But as things unfolded, yeah, they weren't ready for the 450. So I'm happy with where I'm at. I really am. For the first time in quite a long time, I'm comfortable with my motorcycle. I just need to do this more often, to be honest. It definitely tightened up a little bit in the middle, just realizing like, hey, I'm in a great place. This is where I want to be. And obviously, because I haven't been there in a while, it's too easy to think about it. So if I can put myself up front more often, won't think so much about it, and trying to clean up a little bit that second half of the race and try to be a little bit closer to those front guys.
Hey, Alex Gober, MotoOnline.com. How would you rate this performance, this result, to previous rides in your career?
I mean, obviously, results on paper, it's good. Cleanliness of the race, not so much. I'd say probably a 6 out of 10. Was decent at the beginning. Made a few little mistakes, kind of lost the toe, and then towards the end there, I got held up by a lapper for about a lap and a half. So those guys behind me got way closer than I would have liked. But again, for the most part, we have a full field. I finished last Supercross or last season with a 5th in Salt Lake, but end of the year, not as many guys. On paper, it's still a 5th, but the depth of field is maybe not as deep. So I'm proud of myself. It's sometimes when you feel like you just keep getting kicked, for the amount of effort that I put in, I don't always have the results that I want, which is sometimes it's hard not to be hard on myself. But like I said earlier, I have this mentality this year of let's set a realistic goal, and let's try to achieve that as many times as we can, and we'll see what comes from that. But I believe that this area that I was in tonight is achievable week in and week out if I can execute the start and put myself up front.
Last question.
Aaron Hance with Racer X. Can you just maybe talk a little bit to the maybe chaos and intensity in those opening laps? Because behind the lead trio, there was a big pack, you guys. Things looked like they were happening in a hurry.
Yeah, they were. I was actually relatively happy with my opening laps. You would think as much as I raced the off-season races and the shorter races that I'd be good at that explosiveness, but for some reason I'm not. So I felt like I did a good job of adapting and getting myself going early. I wish I was a little bit better early on. Like when I look at guys like Ken, it's just frustrating sometimes because he's so good so quick, to have that explosiveness and that speed right away. But yeah, there's a lot happening early on, a lot less at the front though, so I gotta try to keep doing this.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, Ian. Well, we're going to start out by talking about Eli, the guy that brought the team up here tonight. So was there anything you saw from Eli today that would indicate such an epic night to follow?
I would say like after the heat race and making a few little adjustments to get him a little happier. And, I'm always nervous which way that can go, but to see him just fight through in the main event is impressive. And like I've said last week, it's the amount of work he puts in, it's understandable.
Questions from the media, Scott?
Yeah, Scott Yarja, Moto Now. Obviously, Jorge had a really great week last weekend with the podium. This weekend, he's outside the top 10. Where do you expect him to be, I guess, consistently moving forward?
I think it's race by race for Jorge. For sure, there was a lot going on tonight. You had to be a lot more precise because of what Kenny and Hunter and Eli alluded to. Casing something, you can't really keep your rhythm. It throws you around a little bit. So I think that just comes with years of experience with Supercross. So I think for him, this is one of those things where he's just got to chalk it down to learning.
Jason from Racer X. Look, the end of the season last year, I'm sure, was pretty frustrating. Some guys left the team. What is the vibe like right now? Obviously, the results make it even better, but it sure seems like everybody's in a really good mood over there, too.
Absolutely, Jason. It's very different, when things are changing for the following year. It's you work as best you can with each other, but it's definitely a little bit more stressed. And then when someone new comes in, we always talk about this honeymoon phase or whatever the case may be. But to be honest with you, with Eli and his program, he's just committed, and he just runs his own program. And when he needs help, he asks for it. If he doesn't, he takes care of things, which is amazing for us,
Hey, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. We all know the capabilities and the history of Eli Tomac, but is there any sense of even surprise within the team at all, just how well this has started out for 26? Absolutely, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away, huh? Like 5 years ago, I would have told you, if you hire a guy over 30, you're crazy. They got to be younger. But I can't believe it now. The guys at the front of this field are all over 30. And I got to eat my words, These guys are on it. And it's impressive.
Let's talk a little bit about during the week. I'm assuming the guys are riding together. Maybe not Eli, right? Because he is down in Arizona. But who's really pushing one another at the test track during the week?
This week we kind of had an up and down week. Aaron is a little bit under the weather, so he struggled a little bit. And then, of course, Malcolm's issue from the following week, so it was kind of quiet. But I saw Jorge make some nice steps during the week. And I really think we haven't seen the best out of him. It's coming. He just needs more experience.
Is the plan for Malcolm to keep him off the bike during the week, maybe keeping busy fitness otherwise, or what's the plan? Can you speak to Malcolm's situation moving forward?
Yeah, I mean he's with Husky, but what I would do if he was on my team is I would let him make the decision. He knows what pain he can deal with. But time on the bike is really important. So, yeah, we'll see how he goes this week.
I guess the rebound for Aaron Plessinger, is this like a kind of a win considering he wasn't feeling the best this week? And was that at all like, I think you mentioned that he had maybe a banged up arm from his first turn accident with Webb last weekend? Yeah.
And it was more a cold. He had like a chest cold on Tuesday that I could see he was struggling, and even today after the heat race. So I feel like today was a real win for him.
Any additional questions for Ian? Over this side of the room. Bear with me just one moment.
Mike Lindsay, Vital MX. Ian, your two incoming riders, I want to say, weren't the most planned in your guys' decisions to get Eli. You had a little bit of heads up on. Circumstances allowed you guys to come together, and then the Jorge thing kind of fell in your guys' lap late in the season. So typically when you know you're going for a rider and you're planning to sign them, I'm sure you have thoughts of like how they ride, what you guys want to know already to have for settings, for parts, things like that. Being that both these maybe came together a little later than usual, were you nervous about making them both satisfied on the bike? And considering what we're seeing so far, can you tell me how it basically has come together so well so far?
Yeah, sure. That starts pretty early when you know that there's going to be a change in your team. So of course, to keep your sponsors happy and get results, you got to start looking for someone, and then you know who's available and who's not. We all have a list of them, and so I thought, okay, Eli seems like absolutely the best bet for us. So we started talking to him pretty early, and then the contracts take a long time now. There's a lot in the contracts. It's not as simple as the old days. So it takes a while to get through all of that. But eventually, we got that all resolved, and I was pretty confident. And literally, Jorge came like very, very late, nearly the end of the Nationals. When we knew there was going to be some potential, which is extremely late for us. So, and then that was a lot of that was negotiated through Austria. He has a good relationship with them, and so from there that kind of filled our roster, and we decided that okay, we're going to be 3 450 and 1 250.
Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.